What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Creative Rest Podcast. If you have ever needed a shot of adrenaline, encouragement, hope, belief that being self-employed is actually something that is attainable, something you can do as a photographer, filmmaker, or social media manager, we're so glad you're here. That is what this entire episode is going to be about. Super stoked. This title for this episode, the topic of this episode actually came from a comment that we got on an ad that we ran the other day. Kind of comes to the territory. Sometimes you get comments that are very short-sighted or that just give you something to look at and go, man, we should probably respond to that. And the comment was, it was a video of me talking about how there's never been a better time to be a creative, right? There's never been a better time to be self-employed. And the guy commented and he was like, yeah, that'd be cool if that was true, if people actually wanted to pay me to make videos. And he's like, there's no money in any of this stuff that you're talking about. And I was like, man, my heart actually kind of breaks for him, because there's actually so much going on right now in the economy that is building up the photo economy, the video economy, the social media and social media management economy. And this goes for the brand space, also for the wedding space. And so we thought we should actually make a whole podcast on what is going on right now. What is the actual logical financial state of how our industry is growing. And it's really, really good news, guys. It's exciting, and it proves the point that there's never been a better time to be a self-employed creative. So this episode is going to be awesome. It's going to hopefully leave you by the end of this. It's not going to be long, but hopefully by the end of it, it's going to leave you feeling super, super just fired up that this is something that absolutely you should try to do, you should go all in on, or if you're already doing it, you should commit to and stick to, because there's so much going on, lots of opportunity, which is awesome. So we're going to get into it. It's going to be fun.
Speaking of committed creatives in the creative industry who are really going after it, we want to welcome all the new members to round 14 of the 6-week Creative Rise Mastermind. We are officially sold out. Every single spot is gone, and we get started this coming week, which we are so excited about. So we've got 36 creatives from all over the world, Australia, US, Canada, doing in the wedding space, the brand space, the social media management space. We've got a ton of really cool creatives in this round that we are so pumped about. So we want to give them a little bit of a shout out right now.
Shout out.
So I'm going to take a deep breath and read all of these names of our round 14 members. They're so awesome. We have Marcus Reed from Australia. We have James Davis Jr. from California, Courtney Sarens from Manitoba, Hillary Hull from Georgia. We've got Marlon Cordova from Alabama. We have Francisco and Erica from Wisconsin. We have Sabrina from California. We have Dustin Kennan from South Carolina. We have Justin Jasmines from Ontario, Canada. We have Luel Andanza from Ontario, Canada. We've got Stephanie from Tennessee. We've got Jacob DeGrace from Ontario. We've got Johnny Rogers from BC, Mia Ivan from BC, Jesse Bull from BC. A lot of BC people.
Shout out.
We have Will Bones from Texas. We have Brittany Vaughn from California, Daniel Brown from Alberta, Canada. We've got Vinicus Berger from Ontario, Canada, Bryce Bozovich from Colorado. We have Alex Mack from BC. We've got Amanda Glomboski from Alabama. We have Whitney and Gary, another team from Alberta, Canada. We have Kate Proctor all the way from Australia. We've got Sam Rogers all the way from Australia. We have Daniel and Izzy from California, Gigi Nixon from Ontario, Canada, Megan Sevadal from Colorado. We have George and Jack from Missouri. We've got Andrew Botterbush from Washington, Denise Alberta from Quebec. We have Nick Mangos from Australia, Josiah Carver from Washington, Courtney Thomas from Alabama, Cassidy Clever from Ontario, Canada, Georgie Verby from Ontario, Canada. And that is the 36 businesses.
That's a stacked list, guys. So we are so honored to get to help and build into these businesses over the next 6 weeks. We're going to be keeping you guys updated on what's going on, giving you guys updates as these creatives build, sharing some awesome wins with you over the next 6 weeks of podcasts and what they're going after, what they're accomplishing, and most importantly, what they're working on and how they're doing it. So stoked about that. But those 36 businesses are about to go on a wild ride of building their businesses. We often joke it's like 75 hard, but for your business. It's like 6 weeks hard of just figuring out everything, implementing the 6 pillars of a strong 6-figure business foundation, which is going to be awesome. So speaking of that, we want to talk about really why this is such a good industry to be in. So let's dive on into the data, the stats on why there has never been a better time to be a creative. So first things first, it is definitely a big claim to say that there's never been a better time to be a photographer, filmmaker, or social media manager. But I can assure you, and I'm going to show you actually, how that's actually true. Logically and from a data perspective, it's actually true. And not only is the data true, it's also the same thing that we see in our own businesses. So Christy, my wife, has been a wedding and couples photographer since 2015, and I have been running a content and brand agency since 2014. We now run both of those companies together. Christy's got her couple and wedding business over here, and then we both run Spears Collective, the content and brand agency. And we are not only seeing this in the data, we're also seeing this in our own businesses. Like, we are having record month after record month all the time, multiple times per year. This has been a record year for us so far in 2025. And so we are not only talking to you about the benefits of being a self-employed creative, we're actually living it. We're actually seeing it. And I want you to join us in that. So here's some really good news, guys. But the first thing you need to understand is that industries grow at about 2 to 3% a year. Now, what this means is that if you are in an industry that is growing 1% a year, it's growing 2% a year, there's probably not a ton of opportunity. There's probably not a lot of resources. There's probably not a lot of cash flow going to everybody that is working in the industry. It's probably lower paying, okay? Now, if you're working in an industry that's, making 8, 10% a year in growth, that's a pretty booming industry, okay? You are going to have a lot of opportunity to start businesses and do really well. You're going to have high-paying jobs, high-paying salaries, a lot of money getting thrown around in contracts, right? That is the reality of higher paying industries. So I want to make sure I just set the stage with that the average industry grows 2 to 3% per year. And the really good news is that if you put the photography, the filmmaking, and the social media management industries together for the wedding space and the brand space, those creative industries are collectively growing at about 22% per year. 22%. The average is 2 to 3. These are going at like 22% a year, which is incredible, okay? So think about the average industries again, like food and beverage, healthcare, automotive, travel. These are all growing at like 2 to 3% a year on average. Some of them higher, some of them around there. But that is an industry average, and we are getting to grow. The gold rush is happening for creative skills, creative services right now, growing at about 22% annually, which is incredible, okay? So I'm going to break these down, and I'm going to be breaking them down just real quick here, like the wedding industry, photo, video, the brand commercial industry, photo and video, and then social media management. And I want you to listen through all of these. Even if you're not in one of these industries, don't skip ahead. I want you to listen to it because it's going to encourage you and potentially turn you on to something that you might not be thinking about in terms of opportunity. So first things first, let's talk about wedding photo, okay? The wedding photo global wedding photography market is $25 billion in 2025. And it is headed to $44 billion by 2032. That is crazy, okay? That means that on average, we are probably going to see about a 74% increase over the next 6 to 7 years. That means we are growing at about 10.6% annually if you are a wedding photographer. That means every single year, the market is growing by 10%. That's incredible. That is beating the industry average of industries growing at 2 to 3% by like 5 or 6x a lot of the time. That is incredible. Now, here's the deal. If you are in the wedding video space, the wedding video space is a tenth of the size of the global wedding photography space. But there's something interesting about this. The wedding video space is a total estimate of $2.78 billion in 2025. And by 2033, so 6-7 years from now, it is estimated to go to $5.62 billion, growing 102% at an average of 11.3% per year, crushing the average of 2 to 3% industry growth per year. Now, what's really interesting about this is telling us that wedding videography is actually growing at a percent of 1% higher, 1% faster than wedding photography. So the wedding photography industry is about 10 times the size, but people are voting with their dollars, and they're saying that wedding filmmaking is growing faster. It's becoming more and more important than simply wedding photography is. It's really interesting. If you're in the wedding space, something to consider. Now, the wedding filmmaking industry, something to consider about this is that if you're a wedding photographer, I think it's time you start considering adding wedding filmmaking. Now, here's the deal. When I say that, a lot of you people go, oh, I'm not doing that, or that's too hard, or I'm a photographer. I think if you don't like video, you should do wedding content creation, okay? So that is something you probably should be adding. The wedding content creation industry alone will be a multi-billion-dollar industry in the next 5 to 10 years. You can quote this, clip this podcast. I am telling you, in 5 to 10 years, we will come back and revisit this episode of the podcast, and you will see the wedding content creation, which is running around, shooting the wedding day on an iPhone, making fun reels and TikToks for the bride and groom, and giving them a clip library of all their clips. That industry will be a multi-billion-dollar industry in the next decade, which is really exciting. So just some data on the wedding industry. Things are going good. There's lots of opportunity. Oh, the wedding industry is saturated. Yeah, it is. Saturated with opportunity, saturated with new clients. It's growing at an average of 4 to 5 times the size of the average industry. Food and beverage, accommodation, travel, healthcare, all that stuff, right? It is growing super fast, okay? Now we're going to move on to the brand photo space. This is where things get a little bit interesting. The brand and commercial photography industry globally in 2025 was $5.5 billion. Okay, so it's smaller than the wedding photography industry. This is fascinating. When I first looked at this data, actually, I was like, this is really interesting. I don't think I would have expected that. I thought the brand photo space would actually be comparable to the wedding photo space, but it's not. It's smaller. Now, here's what's super interesting about this. It is growing by 2032 to about $6.4 billion, which means it's about a 16% increase over those 5-6 years, which means it's only about a 2% increase per year. That's not phenomenal. That's not insane. What is this telling us? Well, the money's probably going somewhere else. Now, is this meaning that I'm not opting that brand photo is still a great thing? No, absolutely not. My wife and I, Christy, have got a 5-figure brand photo deal actually on Friday. I'm recording this right now. This is coming out on Wednesday. It's Tuesday night. I'm recording this. It's coming out on Wednesday. And this Friday, we have a 5-figure deal that we are shooting for brand photo. So there's still a ton of opportunity in the brand photo space, but it's not necessarily what brands are prioritizing as much with their dollars. Now, here is the truth. The 2 next categories I want to cover are really interesting. It is the digital video advertising budget per year, the advertising budget, or the advertising economy, digital video advertising economy, meaning what is the amount of money that businesses spend on marketing video? And then the second piece of this industry that I want to cover is the actual video production numbers. What are people actually paying to get video production done? And is that growing? Okay, because these are really interesting conversations. When you look at these two, these are very, very important things. So the first one, the digital video advertising global spend. So this means how much money brands and businesses are spending to market video. In 2025, that number is $179 billion. Almost $180 billion. That is crazy. That is a huge, huge market. Now, by 2032, they're expecting it to go up 366% at an average of 46% a year to a whopping $836 billion. Now, this is coming from Data Bridge Market Research. I've got research to back up all these numbers, guys, that we're talking about in today's episode. That is crazy. The digital advertising market, specifically for video, meaning the amount of money brands and businesses spend on using video to market, is going to go to almost $1 trillion over the next 6 years. That is crazy, guys. 366% growth over the next 6 years is the estimate, growing at an average of 46% a year, which means it is growing at 4 times the size of the wedding photography industry and the wedding filmmaking industry, and it's growing at 20 times the size of the global brand photography industry. So if you want a comparison on where are brands pushing budget, well, this is telling us that for every dollar they spend on photo, they're spending about $20 on video. That's crazy. That's crazy, but you need to be listening to that and you need to think about how that applies to your business. Now, again, I'm not saying that there's not opportunity in the brand's photo space, but what I am saying is that if you are only a brand photographer, you should consider what it looks like to add a video offer. Maybe it's you doing the video, maybe you're outsourcing the video, but what can you do to take advantage of the 366% growth that is coming to the industry where brands and businesses spend money on video marketing and video advertising, okay? Now, the next category here is how much are they actually spending on video production? because we now know the number at which this is how much they're spending on marketing using video, which is a crazy number. That is the fastest growing industry. But how much are they actually spending on the cost and investment of actually producing video? And this is where this got really interesting for me, because this number is saying that the verified market research says that advertising video production, so brand space, commercial space, video, the production side of video is only growing at about 6.7% a year. Way lower than I thought it was going to be. Now, what does this tell us? This tells us that if brands are spending 366% more on marketing using video over the next 6 years, yet they're only spending 7% on average annually more on producing the videos, this is telling us that brands and businesses are way more concerned about quantity and scale of the amount of deliverables they can get so they can market with them and market a lot with them. They're way more concerned about that than pouring all their budget into a single shoot, a single campaign. Times have changed. This is not 20 years ago, 15 years ago, even a decade ago, where you would see a $35,000 budget going to one campaign, a $70,000 budget going to one video campaign, one commercial campaign. Now, the data is showing us that that same $80,000 budget is actually getting split up into 40 different campaigns, 20 different campaigns, right? Maybe 5 bigger productions and then like another 15 UGC productions with like smaller creators, right? The data is showing us that the global video market is growing at the fastest rate out of anything in the creative space. However, it is growing very fragmented. It is not all the budget going to solo creators anymore. It's a bunch of the budget going to many creators. It's like one budget going to many rather than one budget going to one. Okay. Now this is really interesting. And what this tells us is that if you're in the video space, you run a video agency, you're a brand photographer that's wanting to get more into video. Maybe you do photo and video. You need to be thinking about, how can I start building offers in my business that are going to help me fill the desire and fill the need to give my clients, the people I'm partnering with, a ton of output, a ton of quantity when they work with me. I'm not saying the days of getting $40, $50, $60, $70,000, $200,000 video campaigns just for a single campaign are over. I'm not saying they're over. That still happens. I actually just had somebody text me about that this past week looking for a connection to a commercial in Canada they need to get shot. And it's going to be a really big budget. That stuff still happens. But this is showing us that the majority of brands and businesses are shrinking their budget per creative, and they're going for way more scale in the amount of creatives that they actually work with. Now, this is not bad news. A lot of you guys might be hearing this and going, oh, there's less $50, $60, $70, $150,000 budgets for campaigns. That sucks. No. This is good news. This means that all the money is no longer going to top performing, historic, massive production agencies, and it is going to creators with 2,000 followers all over the world, just like you or just like me. This is really, really good news for you, and I hope you're encouraged by that. Okay, now let's move on to the last one here that I'm going to cover, social media management. Now, you can put me on the record, and I've been on record for the last 6 years-ish of doing this podcast, where we have been talking about how social media management is our favorite current offer. If you want to build a $10,000 per month business, social media management is the best thing that you could do right now. And that is because the social media management industry in 2024 was $27 billion, and by 2032, it's estimated to go to $124 billion, which is 361% growth over the next 6-ish years, which is growing at about 45% annually. That is massive numbers, okay? That is huge, massive numbers. That is about 20 times the average industry in terms of how it is growing per year. So if you're in the social media management space, every single year, there is another 45% of opportunity and of new clientele. That is a great thing. That is great news. But here's why social media management is also growing so quickly, okay? Social media management is the problem-solving solution to the adjacent problem that photo and video solves and then creates a new problem for. And here's what I mean by that. When you shoot photo, when you shoot video, it is only as good as the distribution behind it. So if you're building photo and video campaigns for a company and you do the best work you've ever done, they're so stoked on it, and they don't hire you back, It's very likely not because the work wasn't good. It's very likely, though, they didn't hire you back, maybe because the distribution was not done properly. Therefore, the content didn't perform for them. It didn't help them with their business, right? So they don't have any ROI to then come and hire you back. So the reason why the social media management industry is growing so well and why you need to consider having it as an add-on or a core offer for your business, if you are in the brand photo or video space, even if you're in the wedding space, there's lots of different social media management options that you can do for venues, you can do for bridal companies, you can do for other vendors in your industry. The reason why it is so good is because it is solely focused on the distribution side of this industry rather on the creation side. So you've got the creation side of industries, of the creative industries, which is like photo, video, right? Like building design. And then you have the distribution side, which is paid advertising, social media, organic social media management, paid advertising, social media management, and beyond. There's so much money in both of those guys. And when you put them together, you're capitalizing on industries that are growing 50% a year, basically year over year, and you can combine those things. So I really want to leave you with this. I hope you were encouraged that there's never been a better time to be a creative. I told you at the beginning of this, 2 to 3% is what the average industry grows. Creative industries right now are growing at an average of 22% a year. We are in a phenomenal industry. This is a great place to be making money, a great place to be self-employed. And I'm honestly just like on a mission to try and help so many people realize that you can make a lot of good money doing this. You don't have to be in the struggle club, okay? There's a very real group of us creatives that are making good money because we are focused on building and implementing the 6 pillars of a 6-figure business. I'm going to tell you what they are right now, okay? If you want to take full advantage of the gold rush that we are living in all of these economies, the wedding photo and video economy growing at 10% a year on average. You want to take advantage of the brand video and photo industries growing very rapidly, as big as 45% a year. And you want to take advantage of the social media management industry growing at 45% a year. You have to dial in these 6 pillars. And these 6 pillars are, number one, making sure you have the right offers. An offer is what you're selling. You cannot scale your business if you're selling the wrong things. You have to be selling the right offer to the right client. That's pillar number 1, is building the right offers and pricing them, okay? Pillar number 2 is you have to dial in your brand. People with the clearest brand, the best brand, the most attractive brand to their ideal client will always win the business, okay? Pillar number 2 is brand. Pillar number 3 is building profitable network relationships, profitable industry relationships. The creatives that get deals are not the creatives that are the best. They are the creatives that are most known, right? When people are sitting in a boardroom or someone's going, I need to hire someone for my wedding, who do they go to first? They go to people they already know. So your goal should be going, how do I become known, liked, and trusted very, very highly by my ideal client over the next year so I can capitalize on this growth? That's pillar number 3. Pillar number 4 is marketing. How do you actually tie in the best marketing systems and automate the ones you can so that you can build lead generation into your business so that you're never wondering when clients are actually going to come to you and start working with you, but you actually have an overflow of people knocking on your door saying, hey, I'd love to work with you, okay? That's pillar number 4. Pillar number 5 is selling. If you do all pillar 1 through 4 right, but you don't know how to sell, you don't know how to close clients, you will lose business and you will not grow your business the way that it could be growing. Pillar number 6 is then taking all of that and actually scaling. So how do you scale your systems? How do you scale your pricing? How do you scale your team? How do you scale your money management? So how do you get your money to start working for you? How do you scale your productivity? All of those things wrap up, guys, and build the 6 pillars of a 6-figure business. And you can implement those all. That's what we talk about. This whole podcast exists to help share these 6 pillars with you, which is really awesome. We just told you at the beginning of this podcast, beginning of this episode, about all the businesses that just signed up for round 14 of the 6-week Creative Rise Mastermind to learn and implement with Christy and I's guidance and do it in a community. All 6 of these pillars across 6 weeks, which is going to be awesome. So we are sold out on the fact that these pillars work. And I really want to encourage you guys that there's never been a better time to learn these pillars, implement these pillars, and you see it here in the data. We are living in an incredible time to be a creative. It goes for Christy and I's business ends. It goes for your business. And I really hope this episode has left you feeling encouraged, inspired, and just full of belief that you can really, really do this, guys. We are in a phenomenal place, and there's a lot of reason why you should be getting paid to do what you love as a creative. I know Christy and I are going after that. We're going to continue to go after that. We're going to use this data as encouragement for us to keep pushing and building our own businesses. It's a lot of fun, guys, and I hope you are feeling the same way. So if you enjoyed this episode, if you have that friend who's always like, there's no way to make money in this, no one wants to pay my rates, I always get, you're too expensive, send this episode to them. I'd love for them to hear me yapping about this and trying to convince them that there's never been a better time to be a creative. If you are on YouTube or Spotify, leave us a comment. I'd love to know which one of these stats shocked you the most. Were any of these shocking? I know a few of them were for me. And if you are on Apple Podcasts, hit us up with a DM. Would love to know that you're listening to the show, and would love to know, what stuck out to you the most, guys. But other than that, hope you guys are having a phenomenal day. Hopefully this was just encouraging to you this week. Make sure you hang around, hit subscribe, or follow the show wherever you are listening, because we get another great episode coming for you next week. We'll catch you guys then. See you guys.